Do you want to sublimate mugs like this? Stay tuned and we're going to show you how. How's it going, guys? BC here for a new tutorial on how to sublimate a mug. And so what I'm going to be using today is my old heat press. I have an old 5-in-1 that I had gotten off Amazon years ago. This is the heat press. This thing's a workhorse. Even though it's a cheap little Chinese one, these things are great, man. These things actually do pretty well as long as you maintain them okay. Anyway, it has a mug press that comes with it for an 11-ounce mug. This is what I use to do the mugs. It works fine. In the beginning, I had a ton of problems. I was ending up with mugs that were, not fully sublimating, or they'd burn, like where they turn brown. And I couldn't figure out what was going wrong because I was using 400 degrees at 60 seconds, which seems to be kind of standard. After some research and a lot of trial and error, I started to realize the temperature was too high. You have to bring down the temperature a little bit for the substrate, not the actual sublimation. The sublimation happens between 350 degrees to 400 degrees. So what I do is actually bring down the temperature kind of low and slow. Think of like a nice pork brisket. Low and slow. I bring it down to 350 degrees, and then I let it cook for a full 240 seconds. And the trick is also, now this took me a while to figure out. I would just normally put the mug into the press and start going when it was at 240, not realizing that the temperature drops significantly as soon as you put the mug into the press. And so that was part of the reason why it wasn't working so good for me. So the trick is here, guys, you want it at 350 degrees for 240 seconds, but when you put the mug into this, make sure that the mug gets fully back up to temperature to 350 before you hit the timer. So we're going to go over that in the tutorial. This is the mug that came out from the tutorial. It came out pretty good. And let's go for it. If you could, like and subscribe, guys, if these videos are informative. Also, we have a new group on Facebook called Heat Press Creators. I'll put a link down there as well. Feel free to join up. We're going to be putting up the tutorials there, basically, for most of this stuff for Give Me Signs. So anyway, let's get into tutorials, and I'll talk to you here in a little bit. Okay, so this is what you're going to need to make your mugs. First, obviously, we need a mug. So this is a mug that is sublimate ready. It's coated with a special polymer to make it able to be sublimated. We have some copy paper. We're going to use this as our blowout paper. Copy paper's fine. This is our print that is going to go onto the mug. I have 3 of them here. Set up here. It's going to look a little washed out. It should look a little washed out because when you put it on the heat, it's going to bring it up. A pair of scissors that's going to cut the copy paper, some heat tape so we can tape it to the mug, an X-Acto knife, and a straight edge. I use this to cut out the actual prints. It just makes straighter, nicer lines. So now let's cut out the artwork. Again, using the straight edge keeps it nice and clean, so there's no curves going around the mug, and that's exactly what we want. Sometimes when you use scissors, you could end up with a little bit of a curvature, and that's not going to look good when it's all done. So anyway, we got this now cut out. Let's now put this onto the mug, and the easiest way to do that is just to take your mug now. And what we're going to do is I grab it by the handle, and I usually place it right in the middle. First, let's grab some heat tape. Again, by the handle, pop it right there in the middle. Bring up each side as tight as possible. You want it to be completely tight all the way around. You don't want any slack anywhere. And you also want a little bit of a gap on the bottom and on the top. The size I use is 7.6 by 3.6. It seems to work pretty good. Again, pull it tight, make sure that it looks good, and now let's tape it down. Go ahead and grab a couple pieces of heat tape. We're going to put one right in the middle. I also will put some usually on the bottom and the top, or run it vertically up and down. Right here with just this one, I just put it this way. This should work out fine. Again, I can't stress this enough, guys. Make sure that the artwork is tight on the mug. If you don't have it tight, it will cause. So now let's get the blowout paper on the outside. We already have the print taped to the mug. We're going to use this copy paper as blowout paper. When you're sublimating, blowout paper is essential. It's basically there to save your press and make sure that no ink gets anywhere where it's going to press onto other pieces that you're trying to press. Doesn't happen as much with mugs as it does with shirts, but it's always safe to do this. It keeps your press and it keeps all your prints nice and consistent. So let's just tape this just as tight as you tape the print on. Make sure that blowout paper doesn't have any slack. Let's tape it all the way around. And I think we're almost ready to go here, guys. We're just, as you see, I put vertical ones as well. I want to make sure it's nice and tight before I put it in the press. All right, so our heat press looks like it is to temperature. I have it set for 350 degrees, and we're going to go for 240 seconds. Let's go ahead and slip this into the heat press now. I tend to put the bottom towards where the element is, but sometimes I switch it up. I don't know if it really matters, but anyway, lock it in. Make sure there's enough pressure that it's nice and tight. Now watch the temperature over here. You're going to see it drop quite a bit by almost, I think, like about 50 degrees here. You'll see it here in a second. You see, there it goes. Okay, so just hold on. Let that just go all the way down and come all the way back up to 350 degrees, okay? Right now, I'm just kind of checking to make sure that it's tight enough. Everything looks good. Just waiting for it to get back up to temperature. Hold on. I know, this is the part that's excruciating to wait, guys. And this is, I think when I first started, that was part of the problem. I was in such a rush to see a result. I just hit the timer and go, okay, it's going to work, not realizing there's a lot of trial and error. Anyway, okay, so it looks like it's almost back up to temperature, and you'll see it pop to 350 here in a second. There it goes. All right, and we started the timer now. The time is going to start when it's at 350 degrees. Okay, so the 240 is now going to count down from here, and we will come back to see what the final result is in about 2 seconds. Here we go. We're on the final countdown, guys, to 1, and there we go. It's finished. Let's see how this turned out. So, I just go ahead and turn off the press. I don't have any more mugs to press, so here it is. It's going to be extremely hot, guys. Be very careful when you're peeling off the print and the blowout paper. As you can see, it's a lot darker now that it's been pressed. The color is going to be really popping now. I think right here I was taking the paper off of the actual mug. There it is. And this is the final result, guys. As you can see, the colors now are popping much darker. The artwork had a chalkboard effect, so that's what you're seeing in the background, but everything's looking A-okay. All right, guys, so that is how you sublimate a mug. It's not that hard. Everyone's heat press is going to be different, guys. I'm going to tell you this ahead of time. Part of learning using heat press and the sublimation is time and temp, and every machine seems to be a little bit different. This particular one, and with a lot of the mug presses, the element inside this kind of part right here that gets heated up sometimes has cold spots. It's totally normal. That's actually why the longer time actually helps. It kind of helps eliminate that, because that way if it's a little bit colder in one spot, a little bit more time might make it fine. So anyway, that's how we do it. Again, this was from a 5-in-1 mug press. I'll put a link down below. And if you have any questions, guys, or comments, or if you actually follow this video, even better, you follow this video and you made a mug, I want to see the mug, you know, so please tag us on Instagram, hashtag give me signs, okay? And I'll check it out. I'll check out the stuff and we'll post them in the group. Also, join our Facebook group, Heat Press Creators. And if you have made a mug, show me your mug. I want to see your mugs, guys. It's good for us to all see what's going on and what problems you might have run into. And hopefully we'll be able to solve it so that you'll be able to make mugs consistently. I'm also going to do a tutorial using this exact same press to make a tumbler, a skinny tumbler. There was some requests for that tutorial. So I'll be doing that most likely next week. And until then, guys, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you then.